Yeah, it looks like we're good.
All
See,
right.
you can see the dog head.
Well, there.
Oh my gosh.
He's going to be excited now.
Well, that's okay.
Hey, this is Patrick Ralston. I'm the director of the Arkansas Arts Council Department, agency of the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism here in Arkansas. I'm at our headquarters out on the patio here in Little Rock, and with me, you've heard me talk about him a few times, and so I thought I'd introduce him. This is Trav. This has been my quarantine buddy for the last 10 weeks, and Trav is pretty good company, but I thought that it was a pretty day and bring him out here and introduce you. Trav, just to tell you a little bit about him. We got the train bridge behind us, so pardon the noise. But Trav is a 3-year-old mixed breed, some kind of hound. I've heard everything from Vizsla to ridgeless Rhodesian to good old red bone coonhound. Either way, I adopted him in July of 2017, and so he's 3.5 years old, and got him at the Humane Society of Pulaski County, and I just best dog I've ever had. So he's good company, and he's gonna hang here as long as he'll put up with me, and so anyway, we're glad to be here with you. It's a big day. As many of you, if you're with an arts organization, many of you know that today we have opened our Arkansas Arts Council CARES Act federal grant. Finally, after some starts and stops, we got authorization to run those grants, and the portal is open on our website, arkansasarts.org. And I encourage you, if you are a 501c3 arts organization that has sustained financial impacts, you've had to cut salary, if you've had trouble making the rent, otherwise been fiscally impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, now's the time to take a look at those grants. They are unmatched. They require no match. They are for salary. They're can be used for salaries, facilities costs, artist contracts to continue your programs, and so please check them out. We are very interested in getting some good applications for those. They are in the amount you can request from $1,000 to $15,000. The deadline we're running on a pretty short deadline. It's going to be June 8th. So get your application in. If you have questions, feel free to contact me through my email is patrick.ralston@arkansas.gov. You'll also ultimately, you'll probably wind up talking to Jess Anthony, our grant program manager, and that's jess.anthony at arkansas.gov. But you can get all our you can connect with any of our staff through our website again, arkansasarts.org. So really excited to get that out. I know that a lot of you have been hurting. We've had so many of you, especially those that run regular public programs, like if you're running educational programs, or if you have say a performance season that has been canceled this year. I know that you all are hurting because of loss of ticket sales, because of fees of tuition, loss of tuition, and so this is a way for us to try to get some of that money out there to help you. This was federal money. It was appropriated by Congress in April or late March, and it is intended to help you continue operating. So check us out.
So what about the application process? Can you talk anything about, like, how easy it is? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that one of the things that we were working on right up until the last minute yesterday was how to strip this application down to the bare minimum. We have stripped out a lot of what we, a lot of the questions that we traditionally ask. A lot of the demographic data we have, the questions we've stripped out. We have tried to make this as easy as possible for you to fill out. I know that grant writing's a hassle. Filling out online grant applications is better than the old way we used to do it, where we had to do a paper application, but it's still a hassle. And so uploading documents, we have really streamlined this process. I mean, this is we have every intention of getting this money out as quickly as we can. So we want you to be able to fill it out pretty quickly. There are some narrative questions, but we are not gonna delve into your life history here. We want to get you. We want to know what has the pandemic, how has it affected you? What have been the costs? What are the losses? Just tell us what you need, and certainly be reasonable, but we will consider all of them at the same time once the application period is up. So anyway, yeah, we're excited about that. By the way, again with me today is Scarlett Sims. She's our public information officer.
Look,
She's
tiara.
with her tiara. She's got her tiara and her mask with lips on it.
Yeah, I had to paint the lips. Do they look duck face?
Yeah.
Because that's where I was going.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm a little conflicted about not wearing a mask. But I did want you to maybe kind of see how excited I am that we're getting these grants out finally, because it's been a challenge. It's been a week of Mondays trying to get this done, and so
after June 8th, people want to know what will happen and how fast will the money be distributed.
The money will be available, should be available in early July, and it'll be in the new fiscal year. But what will happen immediately is these will be reviewed by a panel. We like we do with all of our grants, we bring in outside experts, and not just anybody, but we bring in people that we bring in people that actually are reviewing these grants in other states. And so I serve on a lot of panels with other states and state arts agencies, and so they return the favor, and they do. That provides kind of an objective review of your grant, but we also have at least one Arts Council member that provides kind of some context for what we're looking at. And but again, as I said, the criteria here are not particularly difficult. This is not, we're not expecting you to submit a curriculum or a long-range plan. We want to know what's going on, how are you hurting, what have you had to do to make ends meet, and how much can we help you with? So.
And the requirements include a 501c3?
Absolutely. You have to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization. You need to be an art organization. That means that essentially 51%, at least 51% of your facilities cost, your salaries, everything is supporting your art programs. That means that if you're a history museum that has an art program on the weekend, you might not, probably aren't going to be what we would consider an arts organization. But if you are a local arts center, if you're a local arts authority, arts council, art is when it's your main mission. That's where we want to get involved.
Okay, so how about if your organization received grant funding in 2019 and the final report is due July 31st, 2020? Does that disqualify your organization?
Because you haven't gotten your final report in?
Well, they want to know if they receive grant funding, and the final report's not due. I think basically if you have any grant outside of the CARES Act relief grant, does that disqualify you?
No, I mean, we will have people who already have general operating support grants with us. I mean, this is a one-time only pass-through grant from the federal government. This has nothing to do with whether or not you receive general operating support from us, whether you have received a collaborative project support, MiniGrants, anything like that. This is, like I say, this is a one-off. We scoot the camera just this way, just a little bit.
This way?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And so this is I mean, if you have a GOS grant, you do need to be in good standing. We do mention that in the application, and that means that if you have say an overdue report from 2014, it's if you're overdue on getting a report back to us from last year, and that happens. We have to remind everybody all the time, but this would be a good time for you to get your final reporting in as you apply. But if you are still on track to get your report in on the regular deadline, and you're not behind, and you're in good standing, you have a current grant, that's fine. That's fine. We're not going to hound you about that. If you owe us a report from last year or something like that, we do need to get that from you. But
so the relief grant targets certain organizations, though, in some ways, because if you have an NEA direct funding, doesn't that?
Yeah, we know that we have a few organizations around the state, and it's a very few, that have received National Endowment for the Arts funding in the last few years, and they are eligible under NEA guidelines to apply directly to the NEA for a direct grant. And so if you're receiving a National Endowment for the Arts grant, direct grant, then you are not eligible for this. For this, you have to make a choice as to which one you want to apply for, and so
you can't apply for both and just take one.
Well, I guess you could apply for both and then take one, but you can't double dip from the NEA. They'll hunt you down.
No. Okay, I was just checking. Sorry.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions today.
Yeah.
We need a big board.
Oh, you mean like
a big
a
question
chart?
board?
Oh,
No,
oh.
not like Ross Perot.
I'm sorry, that is exactly what I thought. Ross Perot. We could do like a pie chart.
Well, listen here. I'm gonna talk to you people about
Creative
the arts.
economy. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry. I've been waiting years to do Ross Perot.
Yeah. So let's see, the process. Is there anything else that we can think of that maybe people would want to know?
The details of process. I'm not gonna get too far down in the weeds in it. Most of you who have applied with us in the past know the usual suspects. That's Jess Anthony. He's our program manager for our arts program, our grants program. And Jess has been with us he's our senior employee here. I mean, he's seen it all. He's part therapist. He's a performer. There's a lot of family counseling that comes with serving the arts community in Arkansas, and so Jess has seen it all.
So,
talk to Jess and about the process.
So if you're a new organization that has never before worked with or applied for any sort of grant with the Arts Council, are you still eligible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. We will probably hit you up for some demographic information that we don't necessarily ask folks who are already in our system, and that's fairly easy. It's just we just need to know because we have to report that to the federal government through the National Endowment for the Arts. So, but we will. Once you're in, we'll continue to just keep in touch with you. So, yeah, we welcome new applicants.
I have a question about your dog.
What's your question? This is not,
That's
he's
not in there, but I want to.
He is not behaving as regally as he does when we're at home on Zoom.
So, is it Traveler with one L or Traveler with two L's?
I use one L.
Okay.
I'm kind of a spare. I mean, if you don't have to have an extra L, I don't put it in.
You don't have to, but
Same
there's
thing
like
with
the whole Arkansas Traveler thing, and it's.
Is there a requirement that I have? Is there a requirement that I have to have an extra L?
No, it just depends on who you were naming your dog after.
He was named Travis when I adopted him.
Ew.
And Travis. That was kind of a common dog name, and so I wanted him to. I liked the name Traveler. I don't know, I just liked it, and so it seemed appropriate for an Arkansas dog, and so. But he's Trav all the time. Travelicious, Travelocity.
Okay.
Travelocious.
Okay, here we have another question. If your NEA CARES Act application AAC CARES Act funding request items covered the time frame, that shouldn't be a problem as long as you are requesting funding to support this thing. Okay. I think what she's asking is there a limit on what the relief grant will fund? Like, I don't know, I can't think of anything.
The time frame for the grant, the money has to ultimately be expensed by September 30th, 2022. We've been
That's
given.
2 years,
I'm
right?
sorry. I'm sorry. 2022.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right.
Sorry, we've got federal fiscal years and state fiscal years overlapping. In terms of what you can spend it on, it's basically in the categories that I just broadly described to you, and that is staff salaries, to shore up your staff salaries, to shore up to make sure that your artists are getting paid for your programs. Certainly, a lot of you are your artists are working hard to go from in-person programs to online programs, and also facilities costs. Essentially, if you need to pay the rent, then you can use this to pay the rent. We want to keep you in a facility. We want to keep you staffed, and we want to keep your programs with artists. We keep your artists paid. So this is not a new project grant, though. I mean, let's make that very clear. We're not starting. We're following very closely the federal guidelines in this case, as we've been asked to do. We have found that no, this is not something where we can start a new program. I know a lot of you certainly have innovative programs that you are going to have to put into practice to deal with the pandemic. But so sorry, I may have to do CPR on my dog here in a minute. But come on. But the fact is that with this grant, this is a relief grant. I mean, this is for to keep you in business right now. It's if you have a grant, if you have a proposal for a project that you're working on that certainly addresses some innovations that we're going to need to some adaptations that are going to have to be made for this new social distancing reality. I would encourage you to look at applying for our collaborative project support grant. That's going to be coming up. The applications will open in the fall, and that would be the next cycle is going to be for the fiscal year 2022 actually, which starts in July of 2021. So.
We do also have an ongoing grant that has no deadline, right? For lifelong learning veterans.
We do. We still have our MiniGrants. We still have our arts and education MiniGrants. If you are doing online programs and you are hiring an artist to do an online residency, online programs, you may apply for the or your school. If you're again a nonprofit or a school, if we have a school that's in session, you can apply for the mini grant, the arts and education mini grant. Then we also, another mini grant that we have is the lifelong learning / veterans grant, and that is for programs that are serving military veterans, and they have a reduced they have easier match requirements, and they have they're function a little bit differently. They're for veteran service organizations, or any organization, any nonprofit organization that is serving veterans, providing art programs for veterans. And certainly we deal with the volunteer organizations that work with the VA, and but we've also, if you're a area agency on aging, you are a local senior center, and you have you can document that you have a sizable veterans population, and you want a program targeted toward them, we can certainly do that. And because these are lifelong learning grants, they're really, though they are targeted at veterans, they're also for everybody, so that you can, if you have your senior program where some are veterans and some are not, that's fine. We understand that, but we do want to know that some part of the veteran population is being served. We are approaching about 250,000 people in Arkansas that have some form of military service, and so we are an aging population. We have an aging veterans population, so it's important that we serve this constituency, and so we're real serious about keeping this grant going. And so we appreciate any interest that you have. And if you just have questions, then feel free to give us a call. Janet Perkins is our community development program manager, and Janet, you can her phone number, her email are on our website, arkansasarts.org, and feel free to get in touch with her about those programs. So I see more questions. What we got?
Oh, people are watching.
All right.
This is watching. Can any of our grants be for virtual programs? Is that happening anytime soon?
Yeah, we are, the mini grants are the most obvious and immediate, and that is we're spending those to right now that's the way you have to provide your programs. Nobody is doing in-person performance, in-person art classes, and so we are trying to get people moved toward doing, making it accessible the best way you can. And virtual seems to be one avenue, one platform, whether it's Zoom or YouTube or whatever. But we want to see your applications and see your proposals come in on that, because we're trying to. Certainly we have some money to spend. It's some of that's federal, and we still have some state money, and we are rounding out our fiscal year right now. So we're trying to get we're still trying to get as much of that money out there working in the arts community as possible.
So, speaking of the arts community, have you heard back from anybody? Do you know how artists are doing?
You know, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. I was talking this morning. Actually, was on a call with. Was on a video conference with Robin McClay, who is our artist services program manager, and with some folks from the Clark Hewlings Fund, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to providing just a whole range of professional development, both online and in-person programming for artists. Those of you who have watched these live streams or have talked to me, heard me talk, know that I am really big on starting with the most important part of any artistic economy, and that is the artist. That's the individual artist. An individual artist does not have the support, is not able to thrive. Then you don't have a creative economy, and you can't have an arts community without artists. Getting back to my point, we are looking at building. We are looking at building out more programs, more online webinars, more services that can be provided virtually that provide professional development for artists. And part of that, as we expand, part of that is going to be that we're going to need to do some survey of how our artists are doing, and we need to know, not just the usual suspects. We're going to have to go deeper. We need to find out how, people who are living and who make their living within our creative economy, people who live or make some part of their income from their creativity. We're going to try to gather some more information on how things are, how have you been impacted. I know that there have been some broader research done by Mid-America Arts Alliance. They're our regional partner, and Americans for the Arts. But we're gonna try to do kind of some quick surveying this summer, just to kind of see how our artists are doing out there. And so expect you all, if you're on our mailing list, if you're on our on Facebook, which obviously you are, because here we are. But we're going to be reaching out to you. We're going to be asking you to give us a few details. Just tell us how is your art, how has your creativity been affected? How economically, how has this ordeal affected you? It'll help us to tailor our programs. And I can tell you that I don't need a survey to tell you that I know that we're all hurting, that we're all in a very surreal, strange place right now. I don't know certainly what the next few months will bring. I just know that I and the staff that we have here are going to do everything we can to serve you and to get as much help, to either push as much help as we can out to you through things like the CARES Act grant, or the Sally Williams grant, which is our professional development grant, that is also, you can also check out on our website. But also we are looking at building these online programs that we can provide at low or reduced cost for you to learn things like some basic business operations for artists. That's what we're talking to the Clark Hewlings Fund about. Things like basic marketing, intellectual property, which is something we have had a program on that before, and we see that there is a continuing demand. Issues of copyright. There are some real sticky, weeds issue, down in the weeds issues that we have to that we would like to help artists get up to speed with, because we confront these. Sometimes we confront this lack of knowledge of these issues in artists with artists after problems have already started, and so it's our way of helping you.
We do have a Get Smart coming up in June 18th online. It's a webinar with Brenda Malden again.
Yeah, we have another Get Smart coming up with Brenda Malden, and that one is
for nonprofits, leadership, like strategic planning for nonprofit leaders.
Right.
But it's more in depth than the one we just had.
Yeah.
It's like phase 2 or step 2.
Yeah. Brenda Malden, always a great resource for us. She's done a lot of programs for us. Just amazing presenter, and she knows her stuff. Nonprofit, not whether it's nonprofit strategic planning, grant writing. She's done it all.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and grant writing might be something people want to know pretty soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grant writing sometimes is more art than science, I'll tell you that. And
so Sherry wants you to talk about the Small Works on Paper. It's open right now.
Small Works on Paper, our annual juried. I always feel like there's a litany. It's our annual juried traveling exhibition.
Like Traveler.
Quite correct. Good tie-in. And it is our annual juried traveling exhibition. It is just what it says. It's Small Works on Paper. These are works that basically fit within a set dimensions, whether they are photographs, whether they are collage, watercolor, acrylic. I'm sure that I'm leaving out. So we have had so many different varieties of works on paper. Paper engineering. We've seen it all, and so we're prints, block prints. I could go on. So what is the deadline on that? I'm always forgetting.
July 24th.
July 24th is the deadline for Small Works on Paper, and this year, of course, our 2020 season, the traveling exhibition was interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and so just to make sure that folks are getting to see it, we have now on our website, arkansasarts.org, we have our online Small Works on Paper gallery, and so I encourage you to check that out. It's amazing work. I mean, it's one of my favorite parts of the job is just seeing. I get to see. Not only do I get to see the winners, and we usually have about between 35 and 40 winners. That are included. Those say winners. They're chosen for inclusion in the exhibition. But I get to see them, and I get to see all of the entries, and so it's fascinating. We usually get about 300 entries, and out of that, our juror picks usually about 40 works, the juror also we also give our juror a budget for purchase awards, and so the juror traditionally is able to purchase to recommend some pieces for purchase, and so these are purchased by the Arts Council they're purchased, and then they travel, and then when the purchase awards come back, when the exhibition comes back at the end of the year, the purchase awards are included in our permanent collection here at the Department of Heritage.
And now Robin wants you to talk about the Arts Registry.
Okay. The Artist Registry, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of it's kind of the entry level standard for if you want to do stuff. If you want to enter a piece for Small Works on Paper, you need to be on the Artist Registry. We have I think it's over 900. I think we're over 900 now. Artists, visual artists on the Artist Registry. It is on our website. I'm going to wait to give you the website because I keep repeating it and I'm afraid I'll forget it. Like when you forget your mom's name. The Artist Registry, but this is essentially just an online database of Arkansas artists, visual artists, and it has a little information. It'll have your artist statement, a little biographical information. It'll have digital images of your work, and you can have a link to your permanent website. If you have your own domain, you can link to your own website. It is essentially taxpayer-funded promotion of your art, and because we are all about promoting Arkansas artists. So I encourage you to check out the application, which is online at arkansasarts.org, and so go there. You'll communicate with Robin McClay, who is again our Artist Services Program Manager, and she will tell you what you need to she'll help you get you loaded up on the Artist Registry. And I tell you that we have a lot of collectors. We have a lot of folks that are browsing or looking to buy Arkansas art that browse the registry. And if you have your art, some of your best works, we have digital images there. You have your current phone number, you have current email, and you link to your website if you have one. Even if it's, I think you can do that even if it's Facebook. Mm-hmm. Then that's a great way for you to get in touch with these folks who very often use our registry as a launching point for their search for art. So.
Okay, and then I think somebody was asking for a link, and okay. I think Sherry's on that.
All right.
But the only other program I think we haven't mentioned is the Art Voice Arkansas program.
Arts Voice Arkansas, and this is real simple. This is what we're just asking for is for our K through 12 students who had their school year has been so brutally interrupted due to this pandemic. A lot of them were in art programs that just did not, they didn't get to finish out any of their classes. And hey, man. We are. Don't knock over the camera there. So we are asking them to submit. Just submit work. Show us what you're doing. Have your student, have your child, have your student submit digital images of the work that they've been doing during the pandemic, during the quarantine. Show us. We know that a lot of folks have used this time wisely to pursue their creative impulses. For a lot of us, it's therapy. We need that outlet. We need to do something productive, and something that gives us hope, something that gives us, brings a little light into our lives. And so we want to see your art. We want to see videos of your performance. If you are a poet, send us a video of you performing your poetry, or send us some text. Just send us a text of your poem that you've written. We cast a broad net. If your band has been, if you've been playing, I know that some of our folks like Monster Boy, which is a couple that that have been doing amazing work during the pandemic in doing online performances, and they've been involved with several Arts Council programs. And so I'm just thinking, if you're a musician and you are out there, you're still performing, you feel free to provide a video of with sound, hopefully, of your performance. And
but it is limited to students.
Again, it is for
kindergarten.
It is for the Arts Voice Arkansas is for K through 12. So let me make that very clear. But frankly, outside of that, anything anybody wants to share with us, we love to see it. No matter what age you are. But Arts Voice Arkansas K through 12. Submit your literary arts, your performing arts, your visual arts. We want to see it. We want to see what you do. Video, photograph, text, or the written word, whichever. So, what else we got?
Those are the only questions.
Well, we've
Didn't talk about your table.
my table. I'm going to post a picture. I did a test. I did an experiment because we haven't had, I haven't had a lot of good light or a lot of opportunity. I did, for those of you who have not heard before, I have over the years done work with, of course, as a photographer and a former photography instructor. Used to teach some alternative courses, and cyanotype was always one of my favorites, which is printing with it's basically what we call, a lot of people call it sun prints. A lot of you probably did it in high school or in elementary school even, where you had a special treated paper with an emulsion. You laid objects on it, put it out in the sun, and it creates a kind of a beautiful deep blue image where where the objects create a print image on it, and you can also use it to use it with digital negatives to do some really beautiful monoprint images, or monochrome. Anyway, I wanted to do a solargram, which is basically to treat a tabletop, a coffee table, with cyanotype solution. It's a two-part solution, and it's very, very inexpensive. And so I want to do it on my new coffee table that I built, but I wanted to experiment and see how it works. So I did it on a small end table, and I will post the picture of it. This experiment did inform what I'm ultimately going to do with the coffee table, which I think is actually, I'm thinking I may actually do a digital negative image on it directly on the wood, and I'm going to, as I do that, I'm going to take pictures and try to give some explanation of the process. This is one of those things where I think it's cyanotype is and digital negative printing is it's an adaptation of a traditional art to the digital age. And anyway, I'm really excited about sharing that with you. But I'll post a picture of it's kind of iffy, but the table that I did a couple of days ago. I don't know if I'm totally satisfied with it. You can, we'll let the art critics judge. So anyway, no more questions, it doesn't look like.
Nope, we're good.
All right. Well, thanks again. Thanks for joining us, and we will continue to put together all resources that we can help in any way. Keep in touch with us. You can get a hold of me through the website, arkansasarts.org. You can get any of our staff, ask questions about our grants. And Scarlett's there too, linked there too, so you can find us, reach out and touch us. I mean that metaphorically. don't stay 6 feet away. But anyway, continue to be safe, continue to create, and you just keep in touch. We want to know what you're doing. So thanks again. See you later.